Welcome to CasuTech channel with Poco X3 NFC in this episode. This phone looks really great with the spec and the price, but after using it for a month, I'm not amused with some of the issues. If you like to take videos with phone, this phone may not be a good choice for you. Poco X3 comes with aluminum frame. The front panel is a flat piece of Gorilla Glass 5, and a plastic back cover. Overall, it is slightly thicker and heavier than other mid-range phones. The screen is 6.67 inches Full HD Plus dot display IPS LCD screen, and it already comes with a screen protector for temporary protection before you get a tempered glass. With its size and the punch hole design, this is actually the same screen on Redmi Note 9 series. Although the screen bleeding and burning issues have been resolved, but the dark shadow can still be seen on Poco X3. The only difference is we can choose 60Hz or 120Hz screen refresh rate on Poco X3. But 120Hz will also consume more power. Just like Redmi Note 9 series, there is a notification LED under the thin earpiece, but this notification LED may not be seen from this angle. On top of the phone, there is IR blaster, secondary microphone, and a speaker hole. At the bottom, there is a main speaker, main microphone, USB Type-C port, and an earphone jack. The hybrid SIM slot is on the left of the phone. You may choose to use 2 SIM cards, or 1 memory card and 1 SIM card. If you have to use 2 SIM cards and more storage at the same time, you may want to buy the 128GB storage version. Volume rockers and power buttons are on the right. The power button is also a fingerprint scanner. You may use it on your right thumb or left index finger. Inside the phone, there is Snapdragon 732G processor. The GPU is 15% much powerful than Snapdragon 730. It comes with NFC, it has IP53 splash-proof protection, there is 64GB and 128GB storage version, but they are both only come with 6GB RAM. It uses multi-layer graphite, hence the heat can be dissipated from the screen. And at the same time, it also comes with liquid cool heat pipe, which enlarges the dissipation area by 70%, allowing the CPU to cool down even faster. Poco X3 has dual stereo speakers, where the sound also comes up from both the earpiece and the hole on top of the phone. It also supports self-cleaning to clear out dust that's blocking the speakers. The speakers are very loud and they vibrate the phone, hence make the phone a bit lighter, but at the same time also a bit weaker as compared with the metal frame. The battery capacity is 5160 mAh with 33 watts fast charging. It also comes with a 33 watts fast charger. Choice of the colors are blue and grey. The Poco Launcher 2.0 is actually MIUI 12, and it is still that much ads popping up here and there. Though you may turn off the ads manually, but you will have to find out where to turn it off one by one. The system is not stable. I've experienced few times of hanging within a month, and sometimes internet is not working when the Wi-Fi is connected. Netflix on Redmi Note 9 can only play in low resolution, but it has improved on Poco X3, where it can now play in Full HD. The gaming graphic is pretty good for a mid-range phone, and it has 240Hz touch sampling rate. The touch sensitivity has improved a lot. Gaming experience is doing fine, but sometimes I do get lagging. The highest graphic we can go on PUBG is HD. The highest frame rate is Ultra, which is 40 frames per second. The graphic looks good on other games too. Though the cooling system has improved, but the phone can be quite warm while playing games. Front camera is 20MP f2.2 aperture. The main camera is Sony IMX684, 64MP f1.89 aperture. Ultra wide angle is 13MP f2.2 aperture. Macro camera is 2MP f2.4 aperture. And there is a 2MP f2.4 aperture depth sensor. Over here, we can notice the camera bump is slightly thicker than Redmi Note 9S. The front camera didn't do so well when capturing face in backlit situation. This is so obvious when comparing with Redmi Note 9S. It did quite well in very low light, but the new Selfie night mode doesn't seem doing anything different. It has panorama selfie mode that allows you to capture wider range when taking group selfie, and that is slow motion selfie recording at 720p 120 frames per second. Front camera recording at 720p 30 frames per second and 1080p 30 frames per second, but there is no stabilization. The video is quite clear in low light, the quality is better than expected. Ultra wide angle camera performs very well in bright environment, the distortion can barely seen, and you can turn on HDR mode for better dynamic range. Photo in low light has improved as compared with Redmi Note 9S, especially though tree leaves are much clearer now, and the photo is brighter overall. There are 4 recording formats. They are all stabilized, but when we zoom in, we will notice something blurry here. The video is dim, but not so blurry in low light recording. Poco X3 macro camera can only take object closest to 4 cm, and Redmi Note 9S can get closest to 2 cm. The macro photo from Redmi Note 9S is so much better here. Low light photo is dim, but it's acceptable. Video format only in 720p 30 frames per second, but there is no stabilization. Video quality is not good in low light, it is very dark. Main camera also not doing so well when capturing face in backlight situation, it's either too bright or too dark. HDR handling dynamic range very well, we can see a lot of details in the green circles. Night mode is doing a great job, it captures so much detail in darker areas. You are able to get a better quality image in very low light environment with Pro mode, but you are gonna need a tripod to make sure the phone is still for long exposure. White balance is doing so well and accurate, though the night mode is not as bright as Mi Night Lite, but the white noise is much lesser. There are 4 recording formats, all of them have issue with stabilization. 180p 30 frames per second is shaky and blurry. 180p 60 frames per second is less shaky, but the image is much blurry. 4K is even worse in stability and clarity. Low light video is a bit blurry, and 60 frames per second looks darker. 120 frames per second and 240 frames per second slow motion video is doing great, moving objects are clear. 960 frames per second super slow-mo looks like a stretched video, it is not a real 960 frames per second super slow-mo. Let's recap before we end this video. I like the metal frame, dual stereo speakers, and 33 watts fast charging. Although the 120Hz refresh rate and 240Hz touch sampling are not as good as flagship phone, but they are doing better than a lot mid-range phones. I don't like the phone being lagging sometimes, there is issue with the Wi-Fi connection, and the video stabilization is terrible. And that's it for this episode. Let me know what's your thoughts about this phone. If you like this video, don't forget to share it to your friends, and I will see you in the next one.